next speaker is Natasha Briscoe from Arise and Shine Cosmetics. So everyone, if we can please make way for people who are coming in, if they're coming in at the sides, or if you can fill up from the sides and just accommodate everyone that's coming in as they're coming in, that would be much appreciated. But in a moment, I'd like you to welcome warmly to the stage area Natasha Briscoe from Arise and Shine. Natasha Briscoe is a mother of 3 children. She home educates, and 1 is attending college. Wow. Wow, you look good for your age, sis. You got a college-age child. We might need to talk later on. Okay, so, focus, Leah, focus. In 2006, Natasha found herself researching products and food ingredients after her son became lactose intolerant, which is intolerant to the milk sugar. Dissatisfied with the ingredients found in hair products selling in the shops, she decided to get training on how to make natural hair and skin products. After natural product training, Natasha started the business in 2008. So it's 10 years old. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. With 1 hair pomade today, there are 9 products in the range. Natasha holds a series of seminars teaching women how to care for their hair and workshops for girls. Can we give a warm round of applause for Natasha Briscoe?
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a good day, and I've met some lovely women already, and I'm hoping to meet many more of you today. I'm here to talk to you about how our diet affects our hair. We're so used to putting products on. Okay, thank you. We're so used to putting products on our hair that we feel that that is sufficient, but there's so much more to our hair care than just the products that we use. Okay, so I think most of us know the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were placed in a beautiful garden where they had food in abundance. Any kind of food you want, they had access to it. And they chose to eat what was forbidden instead of what would nourish their body and give them life. Now, Genesis 3:2-6 says, "Of course, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden," the woman replied to the serpent. "It's only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden that we are not allowed to eat," God said. "You must not eat it or even touch it. If you do, you will die." "You won't die," the serpent replied to the woman. "God knows that your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God, knowing both good and evil." The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. Sometimes it takes one member of the family to introduce us to something that could cause us much harm later on. And as mothers who are most often in the kitchen preparing food for our families, we need to be selective in the food that we are eating and in the food that we are buying and the food that we are giving to our children. Many of the children are struggling in school, struggling to concentrate, and a lot of it is linked to the diet that we are giving to them. In this story, Eve had everything. She had all the fruits you could imagine and vegetables, nuts and grains, and she chose to take something that was not given to her. When it comes to things that are forbidden, it's not limited just to our diet. It can also be the places we go or the places we permit our children to go to. It can also be the things that we think about and how we present ourselves. All these different things can result in either long-term happiness, prosperity, enjoyment, or they can result in devastation, long-term illness, and other complications which possibly could be avoided if we tried our best to eat well and live healthy. And health isn't just diet, as I mentioned, it's how you think. It's how you manage stress. It's how you look after whether you're resting, whether you're exercising. All these different things play a role in our overall well-being, and our hair is also connected with that. Now we're going to cover a small amount of hair science for us to really understand how our food impacts our hair. It's important to know that hair starts to grow from under the scalp, which we know. The hair that we see on top of our head, and I'll go to this mannequin, is dead. Everything that we see, and we look around, we see some beautiful hairstyles, we're seeing some nice regrowth from braids or from locks or whatever it is. And once the hair leaves the scalp, it is now no longer alive. So it can be cut without causing any pain, and it can be manipulated, but once it leaves the scalp, that hair starts to deteriorate. So all we can do from that point forward is to protect it and to make sure that the hair is in the best condition possible. So we will do our topical treatments, we will do our protein treatments that will help bandage up any damage. We will make sure that it's been receiving deep moisturizing treatments so that the inner layers of the hair are moisturized and hydrated. We will do all we can topically to preserve the hair that is showing and that is on our head. But underneath the scalp, and if you look at the images, you can see that there's some cells and there's some things going on underneath at the very bottom of the follicle of the hair. Now, this little section here is where the hair-living cells are formed. So the hair starts from a cellular level. And for those who wear braids and extensions, locks, the hair cells start to rise up, and you will easily, with those styles of hair, see the hair in the form of regrowth as the cells are pushed upwards in that follicle. Can we all see, if I was to just take this and push up, that's how the hair cells start to grow up, and eventually they will leave the scalp and become the hair that we see on our head. Now, once it's under the scalp, the hair is connected to a series of blood vessels. And these blood vessels carry the nutrients, the nutrition, and everything needed for the hair to grow. Is that clear? Everyone's with me there, yeah? Okay, so we can see how important it is to have a good foundation. I always say to the people who come to my seminars that your scalp is important because it's the foundation of where hair grows. And below the scalp, just in this area here, is the key part. It is the part where the cells develop and receive their nutrients. Okay. So nutrition. A nutrient is something that provides nourishment. Let me come on this side. It's something that provides nourishment for growth and sustenance. Consider that our hair, skin, and nails are the last part of our body to receive nourishment from the food we eat. So when we're eating our lasagna, for instance, our body is not going to imagine that it's receiving a nice, whatever the lasagna is, whether it's got spinach in it, whether it's got meat, whatever people eat, whether it's got the carbs from the pasta. Our body is seeing the mineral and vitamin content. And once it's received that vitamin content or the minerals, the body will then distribute it around itself. And it feeds the most important organs first. So your brain, your liver, your heart, your kidneys, all those areas will be nourished before your hair. Your body's not vain. It's not going to start making sure that your hair and your nails and your skin look fabulous first. The vital organs will be given those nutrients, and once they are given those nutrients, whatever is left over will be given to your hair, skin, and nails. So you want to be drawing as much nutrients from the food you eat so that what's left over will support hair growth. I noticed over the summer how much the grass had grown once it had rained. I don't know if anyone here cuts the grass. Well, I get my son to cut the grass. And I would say to him many times, cut it before the rain comes. Because once the rain comes, it will be more challenging and the grass will grow quickly. Now, real hair food is the nutrients that we have. And when we see how the grass is nourished when it's had water, we know that plants make their food from the sunlight. Photosynthesis is the process in which it makes its food. So we know that plants need sunlight, water, and air. And if we compare ourselves to a plant, we can see, and even if for those of us who keep house plants, if we forget to water the plant, if we don't water food in the allotment, the food suffers and struggles and doesn't grow the way that it ought to. My dad has an allotment, and I remember once taking my son many years ago when he was homeschooled to go and learn how to grow vegetables. And one thing that we learned was that potatoes need a lot of water so that they don't yield very small. We want the potatoes to be big, so you give them a lot of water. So we're learning how water is vital for nutrition and for sustenance. Has everyone here had water today? I'm seeing lots of water bottles. Do we normally drink our 2 liters or 1.5 liters or 8 to 9 glasses of water a day? Yeah, we try to. But if we look at our plants and if we look at the grass, we can see how important water is for our bodies to stay healthy. It carries nutrients, it carries cells around the bodies, it helps us to stay alert, and our body is largely made of water, especially our brains. So it's essential for our cleansing, healing, and nourishment. And if we observe the grass, and I'm going to encourage you all, notice what happens to the grass when it rains, and notice what happens to it when there isn't much rain. And consider that your bodies react in similar ways. Okay, I'm going to ask for 10 volunteers, please, to come to the front to stand beside my table of delights. Can I have 10 volunteers? Thank you. Thank you. I'm really encouraged by the amount of people coming forward. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 more, please. Thank you. 9. I need 1 more. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, thank you. Okay, so as we know, hair is predominantly protein, and it's made, and what I have on the table behind you, maybe I'll get you to stand back a bit, just so that we can have you in a line back that way, and I'll invite you to this side one at a time. Thank you. So you can stay here as you're here first. Yeah, you can go back on that side. Thank you. So what I'd like the volunteers to do is to look at the table and see items of food on the table that have the nutrients that are on the screen. So you're the first person, and I'm going to ask you to find something that has protein in it. And we'll talk about how these food nutrients are good for hair growth. Okay, is she correct? Members of the audience, is she correct? Yes? Okay, well done. Shall we give her a round of applause? Well done. Thank you. Okay, so hair is made up of a protein called keratin, which I'm sure we all know. So a diet lacking in protein will result in feeble, limp hair. Food eaten is broken into amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So if you imagine a child building a house out of Lego, the Lego pieces are sort of like the amino acids. And they are connected together in the body for the growth of healthy hair. So if we are eating, we need to make sure that we are having good proteins so that the body will be able to have enough, once it's fed all the important organs, to ensure that our hair is healthy and strong. Okay? Thank you. Who is next? Who would like to have a look for B vitamins? Absolutely, greens. And she's correct. Can we give her a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so B vitamins. B vitamins. Now, you may have heard of B complex. B complex means consisting of different parts, and it's when all the B vitamins are put together and you take it as a capsule or in whichever form that you decide to take it. Now, the B vitamins are water-soluble vitamins, which means that they dissolve in water. The thing about B vitamins, as well as vitamin C, is that it needs to be consumed daily. So imagine if you haven't had any B vitamins today, your body will be lacking in that nutrient. And it's important for hair for a number of reasons, which I'll mention shortly. If you haven't had B vitamins today, your body, you may not see the difference, but your body will feel the difference. They work together, and a deficiency of one B vitamin will impact the others. Now, many of us have heard of B7. B7 is biotin. Is there anyone here who has heard of biotin before? Yeah. And what do we know about biotin? Right. We've been told that it's good for our hair, skin, and they're told it's good to help our hair. Now, what biotin does is it draws nutrients, more nutrients from the food we eat into the cells. So this is why a lot of women take it, because whatever's left over with the food, once it's fed all the important organs, will be given to the hair. So if it's drawing more nutrition, good for the hair. With biotin, I find a lot of women are taking it and they're getting acne. And I wonder if the reason for this is because they're taking biotin in a very high dose initially. When you take biotin with the B vitamins, because they work well together, it's best to take biotin initially in smaller doses and build up. Has anyone here taken any B complex tablets or supplements in any kind? And what did you find happened when you took them? You felt energized? Okay. Did anyone notice the color of their urine? It was orange, that's right. It was similar to the color of some of the tops, even this scarf at times. It can be very bright orange. And it's because the B vitamins don't stay in the system. The body will take what it needs, and whatever's left over will be flushed out. So this is why it needs to be consumed daily. And when biotin is taken, if it's taken in excess, it can be flushed out. Many women may find in the form of acne on the skin. So there's some women who have taken it and they've found that it hasn't agreed with them, so they may need to try a smaller dose. Another one is folic acid. Many of us know folic acid. It's been given to women who are expecting a baby because it helps with the development. Now, folic acid in its natural form is known as folate. I'm going to touch on B5. B5, a deficiency of B5 can result in grey hair. It can help to reduce stress. It can cause alopecia. It can impact the growth of the hair. So this is why our B vitamins are needed for our body. And if we take the B vitamins together, we get more from them. They work better. Anybody suffering with lupus, and I'm mentioning lupus because sufferers of lupus may find that they have issues with hair loss. And B5 has been known to help when combined with vitamin E. So that's something for you to look up. Sources of B5, as was correctly shown, include whole grains, greens, brewer's yeast, meat, seeds, and nuts. Okay, the next one is iron. Who would like to do iron?
5 minutes.
I've got 5 minutes? Oh. Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, my time is limited, and she's correct, yes? Okay, thank you. I've got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to race through as much as I can. Iron is essential for hair. Any woman who may find that they are anemic may find that they have parts of alopecia areata, which is when the hair falls out in patches. So anybody struggling with anemia would need to check their iron levels. I'm going to whiz through. Symptoms of deficiency, you may find that you're eating ice, you're tired, pale, shortness of breath, hair loss, and greying hair. The sources of iron also include blackstrap, molasses, beetroot, lentils, and dried fruit. Okay, we'll go through to the next one. Zinc. Anybody willing to have a look at zinc? Okay, because of time, I'm going to help you out a bit. We can have a look at the chickpeas. Chickpeas and seeds also have a bit of zinc. Pumpkin seeds are the best source for men. Okay, so thank you. He's picked up some zinc. Pumpkin seeds, excellent, full of zinc. Well done, thank you. They're found in blood, hair, and zinc is found in blood, hair, and skin. A deficiency of zinc will break down the protein structure of the follicle. So we need zinc. And anyone who's found deficient in zinc may find that they have little white patches on their nails. It can result in hair loss, a deficiency, and dandruff. And there's some sources on the screen for you. Chickpeas, pumpkin seeds, especially for men who may have issues with DHT, but I think that's going to be covered later today. Okay, moving forward, copper. I think I've put the answers on the screen for you. While you're looking, hair color. Many people struggling with grey hair may find that copper in the diet will improve their hair and bring back the hair pigmentation. Okay? It can be reversed, yes, it can be reversed. So you need to look at your diet and increase the nutrients that you're feeding yourself. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move forward. Yes, thank you. We've got copper there as well. Thank you. Give her a round of applause. The next one is magnesium. Who would like to do magnesium? And while we're looking, I'm going to read for the sake of time. A deficiency in magnesium. Magnesium helps to prevent calcium build-up on the scalp. Calcium on the scalp clogs the follicle, and it can result in dry, flaky scalp and hair loss. So magnesium can be taken topically, or it can be taken through your diet. And the food sources, yes, she's correct. We've got our seeds and nuts. Also, celery and the samphire vegetables, which I have and will have on my table out there, are also excellent. Sources include walnut, avocado, and legumes. I'm going to quickly move on to iodine. And while we're looking for iodines, I'm going to read. The thyroid gland relies on iodine to make hormones for healthy hair, teeth, and bones. Symptoms of deficiency result in weak hair, hair loss, and iodine can be applied topically to the skin. Pregnant and breastfeeding women may find that they are deficient in iodine. Now, I'm going to quickly touch on this briefly. Yes, thank you. So we've got the samphire herb there. If anyone hasn't tried it, please come to my table. It is a delicious sea vegetable full of nutrients. Okay, selenium. A small amount is needed for hair growth, and as it supports healthy hormone levels. It works with iodine to keep the thyroid healthy. And you can see I'm touching on the thyroid because a thyroid disease impacts the hair quite a lot. Okay, too much can cause alopecia, which is hair loss. And you can see sources of iodine all along hair. Lentils, yes, she's correct. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Okay. And the next one is the omega fatty acids. I'm going to touch on these quickly. The body cannot make the essential fatty acids, so we need to get them from our food. Now, these would be found, the omega-3 and 6, in nuts and seeds, oily fish, so as many vegans here can benefit from having it in flaxseed oil, and also your flax seeds. Omega-6, we get a lot of it from the food that we eat, commercial food, but omega-3, we must do our best to consume it. When we take omega-3, it helps keep the scalp moist, oiled. it helps hydrate the scalp from internally. And also with omegas, it helps the cells to work well. It's excellent for memory. So women who may be struggling in the menopause may find that omegas useful as well, because it's excellent for the hair, but it's also good for the menopause, for the memory, okay, and the hair, scalp. Supplements. We've all seen these, and what I think I may do because of time is if anyone has any questions on UG, milligrams, micrograms, you can meet me at my table and we can discuss those there, because we see all these symbols, but many of us don't know what they stand for. So it's good to have an understanding. Okay, and just to end, dietary habits will impact our overall health, but also our hair health. If we aim to work on these in small steps, we will see the differences. Many times we want to destroy our body for decades. Many times we do it and expect instant repair, and this is not going to happen. They say if you want to eat an elephant, do it in small parts. So if you want to repair damage from decades and decades, start small. Give yourself a small goal and a realistic goal, and be consistent, which is sometimes the greatest challenge of all. Where there is life, there is hope. No matter how you feel, no matter how you think, no matter what your emotions tell you, dare to hope. Hope is demonstrated through faith and work. So it's believing and actually making the steps. When you're in your bed and you're thinking, I didn't have my water, or I didn't take my biotin, or my wheatgrass, or whatever it is, get up and go and take it. Thank you very much.
Can you sit while questions during that time? Greetings, family. Greetings. Okay, so Natasha's going to be taking questions while the next speaker is setting up. So if you have any questions for Natasha, if you can please shout them out, or we'll bring the microphones up to you. Anyone have any questions? Hi. You hold that one, my love. You had the hand up. Hey. There we go.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, if there's any particular vitamins that you recommend that basically have most of them in one kind of thing?
Can you hear me? Yeah. When it comes to multivitamins, it's best to speak to somebody who can give you better advice based on your age, based on your if you've got any complications. I won't recommend anything, but I will encourage you, start by increasing your raw food intake, increasing your nuts, your seeds, whole grains. Sometimes you go into Sainsbury's or Tesco's and the rice is cheap, so you buy the white rice. Whole grains. Start by looking at your diet. And if you decide that you do want to add something, you can possibly start with a single mineral. Maybe it's just one thing you're lacking, and see if that is the case, if you notice any changes. But I won't recommend a multivitamin at this time. Thank you.
Hi, Natasha. Thanks
Hello.
for that. Really informative.
Thank you.
Quick questions about grey hair. Number one, if you've already got grey hair, is it worth taking those vitamins to try and reverse it? Second question is there anything wrong with grey hair? If it's healthy and thick, is there anything wrong?
That's a very good question. I'd like to touch on the second one first. My mum is nearly 70, and her hair is white. It looks beautiful. I don't know if anyone's seen women with grey hair, and you admire how beautiful it looks. So I know that at some point I will get there where my hair is beautiful and white. It shows maturity, it shows wisdom, it shows experience, and there's so much we can learn from those who have grey hairs. But what I will say is that because so many women are using dyes and chemicals to cover up the grey hairs, this is an alternative. Too many times, the products that we're putting on the hair are causing the hair to break, because the hair can dry out with many of the artificial colorings that we are applying to the hair. So this is why I encourage women, if they have problems or they don't want the grey hairs, to go back to natural, go back to the diet. Now, what you mentioned about grey hairs going, it can be reversed. You may find at first that the grey hairs will start, they will start with going like a bronzy shade, and then they will go back to the original color. But you also need to consider other factors that will cause grey hairs. So it could be stress, it could be medication, there could be a number of things that are impacting that. So that would be something to look at as well.
Any other questions?
Okay.
The sister asked, how do you maintain your hair if you've got a high fitness diet and you sweat a lot?
Okay, so we spoke about that briefly earlier. And when it comes to fitness, you're perspiring, your skin is the biggest eliminatory organ. And as a result, toxins have been expelled and going on the scalp. And if they sit on the scalp, they can cause complications. They could result in inflammation of the follicles, which could eventually become scarring. So we don't want that. Now, when it comes to that, perspiration, I would encourage people to keep the scalp as clean as possible. Some people do co-washing. I'm not a fan of co-washing because I feel that conditioners close the cuticle layer. And scientifically, if you're closing the cuticle layer, you're not allowing the hair to be clean. So that's just my take on it. But you can use a mild detergent, or you can use even clay to wash the hair. If you're needing to do it on a more regular basis. Another thing I would encourage you to try, if you are able to use it, is aloe vera and Fuller's Earth. That's something that you could apply if you have that lifestyle. Okay.
Any other questions? We can take one more question.
Fuller's Earth. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's homework.
Okay, if we can give a big round of applause for Natasha.
Peace and blessings, kings and queens. My name is Shakara, and we are here once again at the Hidden Science of Black Hair. And right now, I'm speaking to one of our presenters today, kings and queens, and she goes by the name of Natasha from Arise and Shine Cosmetics. And this sister was delivering a fantastic and insightful presentation about food and how it relates to hair. Now, sis, first of all, just explain what is Arise and Shine Cosmetics and what is it that you do?
Okay, so I started a business teaching women how to care for their hair, and the idea for me was to have products first and foremost for my family that wouldn't have chemicals and preservatives and harmful ingredients that would cause damage to them in the future. And from then I started making products for everyone else. So what I use on my family is what I actually present to my customers.
So, but today, you was kind of delivering a presentation that revolved around food, yeah? And you had a whole table full of, foods and identifying the particular minerals, yeah? And nutrients in the food. Explain what's that, because some people might be thinking, what's that got to do with hair?
Okay, so although all my products are natural, they're made with unrefined oils, butters and herbs, there's an importance to hair care that is often neglected, and that is our diet. Our lifestyle is so important for good care of hair from cellular level. And the idea of food is to nourish hair from under the scalp so that as the blood carries nutrients to the hair root, it will give the hair its life from the cells.
Powerful, kings and queens. And I was just saying to the sister off camera that oftentimes we hear about health, yeah? And we don't always know the nutrients that contribute to good hair health, yeah, in terms of what we eat. And I was saying to her that it's a missing ingredient, you know what I mean? No pun intended. And we figured we're gonna get that into the interview, so we did that, you know what I mean? So we like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, one of the things that you touched on today, which I think might be a revelation for some people, is this idea of going grey. Yes, and we know it's a natural process. You know what I'm saying? You explained that your mother has beautiful white hair. It's a natural process, but it's often not necessarily natural in the way that it happens to us as a people. Explain that for us.
Okay, so first and foremost, being grey is a sign of wisdom, and it's beautiful. It's a natural occurrence, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I didn't want to give that. I hope I'm not giving that. But there are cases where hair greys prematurely. And this could be because of nutritional deficiencies, and that's something that I presented today. The idea is that if you grey prematurely, it could be linked with stress, it could be linked with magnesium and copper deficiency, and the idea is to replace the deficiencies with the food that can help restore the hair back to being its normal pigment.
I'm not gonna lie, kings and queens. As I get older as a man, I'm starting to see more of the beauty in the grey hair. You know what I mean? Of the sisters, then. But this is about not just vanity; it's about health. You know what I mean? But one of the things that was a revelation is that if it's an unnatural process, it can be reversed. And many of our viewers might not know that. So let's explain that a little bit more for us.
Yeah, so as you restore the minerals in the system, just like with anything else, you know, our body heals itself. If you get a cut, your body is going to respond to that in a healing process. And it's the same with our hair. If it has been damaged as a result of mineral deficiency, it will start from being silver or white, or grey, or whatever colour you want to describe it as, and then it will become like a sort of browny sort of colour until it eventually goes back to whatever your original pigment colour is.
Brothers and sisters, I mean, you're not as privileged, yeah, to be in the vicinity of the sister as I am, but I can tell you that whatever she's teaching, she's definitely living, because there's a beautiful head of hair on a particular head, you know what I mean? So it's lovely. Finally, really, I just want people to know where they can find you, yeah? One of the beautiful things about today's event is that there are so many practitioners in the field, very practitioners, and not all of them were speaking. I've spoken to people I've spoken to a hair therapist who came to the event as a spectator and these kinds of things. But you know, you're dealing with so many different aspects of our journey, our hair journey, from the actual, you know, the aesthetics of it, but also to the health of it. And so I want people to know where they can find you. So how can they find you?
Okay, so you can find me on my website, which is ariseandshinecosmetics.co.uk. You can also find me on Instagram, Arise and Shine Cosmetics, and I'm on Facebook, Arise and Shine Cosmetics as well.
You saw it here first on Got Kush TV, Kings and Queens. Let it be known. Support these homegrown entrepreneurs and health practitioners in our community. It's Got Kush TV. And remember, you ain't got nothing if you ain't got Kush.